Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Bread and Butter. My name is Malonga Muchalemba, and I am the founder of Ongolo.com, a Pan-African website whose main objective is to keep Africans connected and engaged and to promote Africa and Africans. Episode 3 of Bread and Butter talked about boosting agricultural productivity in Africa, and it generated a lot of interest, especially around how to solve problems such as rain, which is one of the key inputs for agriculture production in Africa. Which is why I'm really delighted to have on today's program Joel Pascal from BeOrganics in Mauritius, who's here to talk about an innovative solution that can help us resolve the problem of water retention in agriculture. Joel, welcome to the program.
Malongo, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thanks for reaching out and telling me about this after I broadcast episode 3. So I'm really excited to have you on and to help us see how we can help not just farmers, but other people who are grappling with this problem of water, especially as climate change is making rainfall patterns erratic. So before we get into talking about Raincatcher, would be really good for our viewers if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, again, thank you so much for having me, and I'm very honored to be part of your show. So, I am the sixth child of an eight children family. So my dad and my mom really wanted to have a lot of kids, and I was born curious, and I guess that if I had after graduating high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life because I was just curious about everything. I was curious about food, medicine, aerospace. I just wanted to know everything. So I went on this quest to learn as much as I could on my own because I understood that a degree wasn't what I wanted and what I needed. It was difficult. I went into the financial sector, really at the bottom of the food chain, and I ended up as a financial advisor, lending money to small businesses in the United States. Following that, after 3 years of like really a burnout career, I started a small startup with my brother-in-law, which today is one of the leading cybersecurity companies in the country. And I ventured into retail. I ventured into renewable energy. I ventured into telecommunications. I just wanted to touch every 3 years. I just wanted to do something new. And this is where I am today after launching 4 different businesses and startups. They crashed. This is my fifth startup, and it's looking good for the time being.
Oh, you have such an amazing story, and it's a shame that this is such a short interview because
I have to compress it.
I know. I got the full story, and it was really powerful when we
Yeah.
talked about it. And I do think that it would be great for you to share a bit more because your story is the reality of entrepreneurs, and a lot of people don't get to hear about the journey and the struggle. And I just thought your story was amazing, which is why I'm really excited to talk about BeOrganics because I think that it has real potential to do amazing stuff, especially in Africa. So, do you just want to tell us what it is that you're doing now?
So BeOrganic came about. It's a merger of talents and resource. My talent, as I evolved in my career, has gone into representation acquisition and market penetration. So basically, when we started the cybersecurity business over a garage, we were not in a garage like the typical Apple and Silicon Valley story. I was on a garage, and we started calling companies in Silicon Valley who were startups themselves. And when a startup speaks to a startup, there's a common energy. And I was able to secure a lot of very large companies, which were still small when we spoke. And this is how we my knowledge and my expertise was born when we launched the cybersecurity business. So at BeOrganic, we wanted to be in three different fields, very specific. Food science, because we eat one meal, two meal, or three meals a day. It depends on who is eating. We are in the circular economy. We wanted to be in a business where everything that is produced and sold goes back into the earth and is absorbed by the system, by the ecological system in place. And the third business that we wanted to be in, and this is why we are talking right now, is agri-tech. We wanted to be in food production, innovation within agriculture, and solving problems. And this was the cornerstone of the business.
Wow, amazing. So let's talk about Raincatcher then, because there's a lot of interest in agriculture, and this is something I think that we'll catch on really quickly. So do you want to just tell us what the product is, what problem it's exactly solving, and what the technical aspects are of it?
So I like to very good point. So I like to actually tell a story when I talk about this business. People tend to forget that if we don't drink water for 3 or 5 days, it's game over. All the complexity that you see in the world right now, 5 days of no water, and we are toast. We are toast. Human beings are extremely vulnerable, but we have this sense of being all powerful and having so much control. Water is literally what our life is all about. We are water. And so being with Raincatcher is really something for me which is defining of what our business is all about. Because two-thirds of the world population is directly or indirectly related to the agricultural sector. And a lot of people tend to disrespect farmers today. But we truly, our whole life, when you're walking into a supermarket and buying something wrapped in plastic, there's a guy who woke up at 4 in the morning to make this happen. So we really wanted to bring back, to bring value to this segment. By bringing the innovation. People tend to forget that there's a lot of innovation in agriculture. And understanding that the future is going to be about water wars. We're not talking about petroleum wars, because we are innovating so much in solar now. We are innovating so much in electricity, mobility, and all kinds of other energy forms, that we are now talking of moving away from fossil fuels, but we cannot move away from water. And one of the greatest challenges of the agricultural business is actually water.
Yeah.
One drought can destroy a complete, season for a farmer, losing all his revenue. Every single, his livelihood depends on rain, literally. And Raincatcher comes as an X factor in that equation, and not necessarily takes away completely the problem, but alleviates the problem to a great extent. So if I can extend on Raincatcher, so basically we are talking about a super sponge, right? And this technology actually is called hydrogel, and it exists since the 1960s. Humans have been innovating in agriculture for a long time, right? And this is why it became such a huge business in the world. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture in the 1960s actually had a special project to boost agricultural production and create a solution to withstand drought periods. But obviously, when you come up with an innovation, it doesn't mean it's going to work out right then and there. So since the 1960s, we've been innovating on this hydrogel technology. Because of its instability, we had to keep looking for the right formula, In the meantime, hydrogels was used in personal hygiene products, in baby diapers. This is how they absorb so much liquid. Hydrogels that was invented for agriculture are being used every single day, and nobody knows about it. And that's what's beautiful about being human. We have so much stuff happening around us that is literally magic. There's magic happening around us, but we take it for granted. So our team, when I mean our team, the team at Raincatcher was able to come up with a formula that balances this very complex hydrogel chemistry to achieve a stable final product. This is actually a patented technology, and right now, 1 gram, for example, of the hydrogel can retain 300 times its mass.
Wow.
So, if you have, for example, we've had situations where I've been on calls where we are talking about literally doing flood mitigation using this product. But this is really at the very like end of the food chain of the application. But the simplest application would be for the everyday farmer who has tomatoes and all kinds of different, bok choy or whatever it may be to grow. And
Can we talk about the specifics of that? Like, how exactly do they use this? So, say I'm a maize farmer in Zambia, and our rain pattern has become really erratic. So, at what point am I using Raincatcher in growing the corn? Is it at the beginning when I'm planting the seeds? Is it, as an ongoing process? Like, how does it actually work?
absolutely. So obviously, I'm not an engineer, and the whole idea here is to be able to have the people who are on this call go further and research further. But I can answer this question. So you will actually have the crystals just under the plant, and when the plant is growing, the roots are going to go and are going to grab the hydrogels in the soil, right? So when you actually irrigate the soil, 95% of that soil, of that water that is being poured into the soil, is going to be absorbed by the hydrogel. So in a normal typical scenario, when you will irrigate, if there is a lot of sun, if depending on the environmental conditions, a lot of water gets evaporated. The hydrogel allows you to retain as much water as possible and also to take advantage of rain. So when there's been heavy rain, instead of all that water washing away, into rivers, we now have a sponge, literally technology in your soil, capturing that water and allowing you to not have to use, the resources of an aquifer or a reservoir that you have for your plants. And so
Wow.
literally the plant grows, and the real innovation of the technology is that we were able to put growth accelerators within the hydrogel. And this is the true innovation. Beyond innovation, another innovation was to integrate the growth accelerator. This means that now when your maize is growing in Zambia, it is not fighting for water. It's like, for example, right now, if you're thirsty and there's no water on the table, you have to stand up and go and get water somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if there's 3 or 4 glasses of water in front of you. You will just reach out and drink it and keep having a conversation with me. This is exactly the same principle. A plant is a living organism. When it has to fight to drink, it's putting stress on its organism. But when the water reservoir is connected to the roots, the plant simply sucks up the water whenever the plant needs it. You have to understand, plants do not constantly pull water out of the soil. They have their moments where they eat. It's funny. It's funny to say it like that, but
Yeah.
it is true. So when they need water and they reach out into these hydrogels, automatically they are fed, and it allows the plant to grow in a beautiful and non-stressful way. And the growth accelerators, which are all non-toxic, right? Very important. There's the beauty of this innovation is also that it has zero toxicity, and it disappears automatically into the ground after 3 to 5 years, depending on the soil, depending on the environmental conditions, etc., etc.
So you don't
So
have to apply it after the first time. You don't have to put
So
more.
when you've put it into the soil,
Yeah.
it just stays there. It stays there.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you don't need to put it every single year. It just stays there into the soil, and the plants just grow and grab their hydrogels, and it just like grows naturally. The only difference is that there is something invisible happening, beyond our sight. Magic, like I just said,
Mhm.
innovation happening under the soil, allowing these plants to bring more yield, to grow, to produce better quality products. We've had an experiment in France, a controlled experiment, where we produced bigger products, bigger tomatoes. So that means 30% more yield and bigger,
But natural.
but natural, non-toxic.
Okay, that's really
Non-toxic.
important.
Yeah. So we can't call them organic
Hmm.
because hydrogels are a product of chemistry and science, but they are non-toxic. So we can
And it's
call
not
them
GMO
non-toxic.
as well.
Yeah, it's not GMO as well. So it's truly something that will change the way that agriculture is done. And we currently have talks right now, not us necessarily, but I mean the manufacturers are talking directly to the government in Dubai to put Raincatcher under 68,000 palm trees in Dubai.
Wow.
And I think you understand the nature of the climate in Dubai, right?
Yeah, having lived there. Yeah.
Kind
And
of dry.
yeah, it's very dry. And what's interesting about Dubai as well, because so near where I live, they had a lot of plants, and you see the little black tubes that they use for dripping. So they use a drip irrigation feed.
Absolutely.
But it must be really expensive to do that all the
Yes.
time because it is so hot.
Over,
So
over, imagine over the distance as well, right?
yes.
Imagine the irrigation system.
Yeah, so I'm sure there'll be a huge market for this. So actually, that brings me to the next question, which is around accessibility of the product, right? So I'm really keen to try this out on my farm. So we talked about this and what's the route to market for this product, and what's BeOrganic's involvement as well.
All right. So BeOrganic, something that I forgot to mention before, acts as a master distributor for startups or innovative companies. So we actually represent products all over the world. From Mauritius, we have opportunities into the U.S. market, Mexico, Finland, Norway, Denmark. So we didn't build this business to be a localized business. We built it to be a global player, and using our expertise, we allow companies like Raincatcher to access territories faster through our relations in the private sector, through our network, through our relations in government. So right now, Raincatcher is a brand new technology. They recently, at the beginning of the year, started to do expos, attending events. Like, for example, they went to Agrame in Dubai, and they had an incredible amount of response from the government of India, directly from the government, not even private sector, from the government of Dubai, from people in Oman, all these countries that are facing challenges. India is one of the largest producers of agricultural products in the world, and it's an agrarian economy if you look at it, for what it is. And they are extremely interested in this technology because water is truly the name of the game. No water, no play.
Mm.
Period. And so right now, we are already talking to people in the region, Seychelles, Madagascar, uh, um, Reunion Island. We're talking to some people in Australia. So, but obviously, we do not have the complete representation of the African territory. This means that if someone right now is in Ghana and they want to reach out to Raincatcher, they will be able to talk to Raincatcher. But we have a relationship with Raincatcher. This means that if they want to redirect that person to us, since we are English speaking And since we are the first African company to really talk to them in a way where we are like, okay, we're going to take you everywhere. So then it is their prerogative. But right now we have multiple countries on the east coast of Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, and Mozambique, South Africa, that we have priority. So someone from South Africa can call them right now. They will pick up the phone. They will listen to them. But they might have to come through us if they have to develop this relationship further. So we kind of have a favored relationship with Raincatcher right now, and thank God for that.
But you are looking for distributors, right, across Africa to work with you to. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. But the thing is, the innovation is not known. To do a global communication for a new product like that costs a lot of money. So the fact that the technology is so recent, we are having to literally have the market come up to speed to meet us halfway. So we are making as many calls as possible. Obviously, when you call someone and you tell them, I'm going to give you a little crystal, 10 grams becomes 3 liters, 100 grams becomes 30 liters, 1,000 grams becomes 300 liters, And the people are like, what? Wait a second. I'm in agriculture for such a long time. I've never heard about that. So we have cognitive dissonance as well. We have people who are like, oh, wait a second, it's like, is this a scam? So yeah, because people like to do the things the way they know how to do them, right? So there's a whole education of the market. But obviously, we have individuals out there who are innovators, who are willing to take risks. But they are not taking an uncalculated risk. We have science to back this technology. We are working with multiple governments. So Raincatcher is working directly with the government in France, the Ministry of Agriculture. So we have the science to back up the talk, and we are looking forward to the challenges, and the questions of the people out there.
So is the approach then to approach the governments first and then interact with the private sector, or are you going to private sector directly?
We are doing both. We are doing both right now. So if we are able to secure something in Tanzania, we will go directly with the government. But if along the way a distributor emerges, we will just push the projects over to the local representation.
And one thing we forgot to talk about earlier was just the size of the product. You've got various sizes of quantities that you sell it in, and talk a little bit about pricing so people have an idea of what this actually costs.
So right now, the public pricing, this is so new, right? The public pricing is still up for debate. And we had this conversation last time on the phone. But it will be something that will not, it is commercially viable. When you will actually look at what it brings to your business per hectare, it will make sense to go with this technology. It's not like if I'm telling you, okay, I'm going to give you something that's going to cost $1 million, but you're going to make like 250. You're going to make your money back, and then you're going to just make like $100,000 on top of that. No, it's really a game changing technology. But right now, the newness of it makes pricing in the USA different from pricing in Australia. So we are working on a case-to-case basis. Logistics challenges in Africa are very much different from logistics challenges in the United States.
But you're selling it in large and small quantities, right? Because I'm just mindful of the people who watch the show. When it finally lands in your country, it's going to be available. And I think the smallest size was what, a kilo or something? What's the smallest?
Absolutely. You have like very small bags so there are applications ranges from someone who is growing vegetables in their home, all the way to the largest agricultural agribusiness in your country, the guys who have thousands of hectares of land. And we have a team that accompanies every client to explain to them how to apply for each crop. Sugarcane doesn't grow the same way as maize, you know, and tomatoes doesn't grow the same way as potatoes. So your soil can be, like a high absorbing soil in terms of water absorption. Another soil can be more, like arid and absorbs water, in a way which is not as efficient. So working with all these different, some soils have sand, and so working with all these different patterns and having the analytics of the soil, we have engineers who fly in to meet the farmers. So this is why I'm saying that I cannot just tell you, okay, it's gonna cost $10,
Yeah.
$20.
Okay. Understood.
So it's in some cases we might need to have engineers with you for months, sitting with like a large organization. We might have engineers with you for like a month, spending time in the country, doing the research with your team and training your people, so that when the engineers leave, you are independent. You are able to do the applications on your own. You are not dependent on the organization.
And also, it's not just farming that this is applicable to. I think you said in Mauritius, golf course was your first client. So golf courses, hotels, any large, companies or institutions that have large greenery would need something like this.
Absolutely, absolutely. So our first major customer was the largest hotel group in the country called Beachcomber, and they were actually renovating one of the flagship hotels in on the west coast of the country. But then COVID-19 came in the picture and slowed down a little bit our progress with that. But yes, we can save golf courses, and they are huge consumers of water. We can save golf courses an incredible amount of water, just by efficiently keeping water that is either being evaporated or just not being absorbed as fast as it should be by the plant, because you're irrigating at the wrong moment. Like I said, the plant eats at specific times.
Yeah.
So maybe you're irrigating, but it's not the time for the plant to eat. So by the time the plant is ready to drink, you've lost like 40% of the water to evaporation, or it's just flowing away, or So it's truly a very scientific approach. This is not a product that you just come and you just throw into the ground.
Yeah.
And then we have a questionnaire where people answer very specific questions. We get on technical phone calls, and then obviously, if we agree to go forward, engineers fly in and they explain to you how to do the applications. In the case of Beachcomber, they have like 9 golf courses. This means that they would have had a training, and then the other golf courses they would have been able to do on their own.
Okay, so I suspect that for most markets, it will be a B2B entry first and then B2C gradually, because
Absolutely.
because of the need for engineers and to get enough information about the soil types in those markets. Okay, so that makes sense. I mean, we've got a question from someone called Andrew who's not really clear about the product. So what I will do is I will send a link, Andrew. Thanks for watching from Nairobi. I'll send a link to Raincatcher's website where you can get more detail about this product. But one of the reasons why we're talking about this really early is that we have to shift the thinking in Africa from doing things as we've always done them to actually using new tech like Raincatcher. So you're right, massive education required, because people will be looking at this and thinking, this doesn't apply to me. This is too complicated.
Absolutely.
Okay, so any final words? We're coming up to the 30-minute mark. Any final words? What do you want people to leave this program going away with or thinking about?
So thank you for asking me this question. I have a company in London that trades vanilla, and it was funny to me when I spoke to one of the largest exporters of vanilla. No, she's not an exporter. She actually sells vanilla on the local market, and then people take the vanilla and send it to Europe and sell it for an insane amount of money. And I told her, "Do you know the price of vanilla in Amsterdam?"
Mm.
And she's like, "No." I said, "Vanilla is selling for $3,000 a kilo in Europe, and she's selling that for $350.
No way.
10 times less." I said to her, "It is time for Africans to understand that they control the commodity." I remember having a conversation with a very big financial guy in Dubai, and he said to me, "Joel, you don't save money when you buy a product in a supermarket. You don't make money when a customer buys your product in the supermarket. You save money at the source of the purchase. That's where the profit is. The more cheap you buy the product, the more profit you make when you finally are able to sell, at the end of the food chain." And
Wow.
nothing has ever been more true in my life than this saying from this man. And so I opened the eyes of this lady, and we built a vertically integrated business where today she has full control of her vanilla all the way into London.
Wow.
So we actually allowed her to make maybe 5 times more money on each sale.
That's
So
amazing.
what I'm trying to say to you right now, Africa is producing some of the best products in the world. We want to give farmers the tools to be able to do the work that they do to the best of their abilities. But also, we also have a consultancy approach where we can help farmers connect to the global market directly without going through negotiate. In French, we say négociant, middlemen, middlemen.
Yeah.
Without going through middlemen, going directly to market. And exactly what I did to this lady in Madagascar, where now she is moving product to London, where we built a business unit for her, and we are partners together in that BU.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I can't believe the margin that they were making off of her. And I was trying to show a picture on the screen of vanilla, but my phone, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but this is what vanilla looks like. I was really surprised because I always thought it was a different, I was trying to get it on the screen, but I can't, so I just use my phone, that it is black. And how many kilos is this? So you're telling me this is $3,000? How many?
So 1 kilo is between $2,500 to $3,000 in Europe, and so they are buying this product at 450 or 500. But the cheapest is 350. Let me just show you real quick. Yeah, let me just show you real quick.
So do you know what other products people are getting ripped off on in Africa? Like where the price is so high?
Cocoa. So this is vanilla.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it smells amazing.
So how long does that take to grow? Is that dried?
Yeah, so this one is actually 2018. This is a 2-year-old vanilla, and when I'm smelling it right now, it smells amazing. And if I put it in water, it will actually become as big as my finger, like this.
Whoa!
Yeah, you see my finger?
Yeah.
So this in Denmark sells for €8.
Just that stick that you're holding.
Yeah, and they are buying it, at 50 cents in Madagascar. Yeah, so it's a total ripoff. So if farmers got together and built a co-op, and that co-op created a company in Europe, and that company in Europe bought from their own farmers and sold it directly to the market in Europe, farmers in Africa will be having yachts and driving Rolls Royces on their fields.
Well, what that's the funny thing is, it's reverse engineering what the multinationals have been doing to Africa for the longest time. Yes. Like you talk about transfer pricing, we need to re-engineer that the other way.
Yes, I'm not an anarchist. I'm I'm not an anarchist. I don't want to break the system. I want to redesign the system to work for us. It is time for Africa to rise.
Oh wow, you've got me so pumped up on the vanilla. But I totally agree with you. I think the nice thing about agriculture, and this is a topic that we'll continue to talk about in different ways, is that every conversation reveals new insights. So for me, the two takeaways are number one on Raincatcher. We definitely need tech to sort out water because it's the most important input and we struggle with it. And irrigation is really expensive. But I think the second insight is literally what you just said about vanilla. We are getting ripped off. And like you say, if transfer pricing can work against us, it is time that we make it work for us in
For me,
agriculture. I
yes,
think we should definitely have a follow-up conversation on this and actually see what are the mechanics and start
absolutely.
that rebellion for Africa to start getting what it's worth.
It's not necessarily rebellion. It's wisening up. It is time for us to understand that we can do things on our own. We don't need Danone to come and buy our product. We don't need Nestle to. We can go to them and say, we have this product. You need this. Here it is at this price. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much, Joel. I'll need to post something that will allow people to reach out to you in future, people who are potentially interested in being distributors and maybe finding out a little bit more about the products because Raincatcher is not just the only product that you mentioned. I know you've got the fruit juice one, which I think is also fantastic because
Absolutely.
a lot of fruit gets wasted in Africa and BeOrganic has a potential solution for us to actually use the product more.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our juice has no preservatives, and the juice literally can stay. It's like when you make jam. So when you close it in a vacuum sealed environment, in a vacuum environment, it just stays. It can stay for years until you open it. So the juice, we have some juices we are drinking that are expired for 2 years. Like formal expiry 2 years ago. They are still drinkable after 4 years.
Wow.
Maybe there's a slight variation in the taste. There's very small you need to be an expert to detect the variation, literally.
Wow.
So we have the juice, and the goal is to bring the factory to Africa. My obsession is the industrialization of the African supply chain. So basically we produce cocoa. We need to have the best chocolate in the world. We cannot get the best chocolate in the world in Switzerland or in Belgium. It just doesn't make sense.
I
Do
agree.
you think the Belgian would sell us cocoa to make chocolate in Africa if they were the one producing it? They would produce and they would manufacture themselves. The only reason they are buying from Ivory Coast or Ghana is because they cannot physically produce the product in their own country. If they could make it self-sustainable in their own ecosystem, they would do it without a second guess. They would just do it. So today we have to reverse. We need to stop looking at ourselves as just as producers. We need
Of
to see
raw product.
ourselves. Yes, we need to see ourselves as producers of end products,
Mm.
vertically integrated. We manufacture our own chocolates and we sell it to the world. We manufacture our own coffee and we sell it. It doesn't need to be called Starbucks. It needs to be called Ongolo because it comes from Africa. You know
I
what I'm
know.
saying?
Yes.
Imagine being in Paris and buying Ongolo coffee. Wouldn't that be amazing? Don't you think it is insane that you are buying coffee, which is called Folier in France, and the coffee comes from Ghana? The coffee comes from Uganda. It just doesn't make sense. Why is a Ugandan company not producing their own coffee and selling it on the world market?
Yeah, but you've given me an idea. I should start making Ongolo products.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, Africa, it is time for us to make our own products because we produce the products in inside the continent. So if you want the best jewelry in the world, you should be able to buy the best jewelry in the world in Botswana because they have some of the best diamonds in the world. If you want to wear gold, you need to go to DRC where they are producing the best gold necklaces in the world. How can it be that you have to go buy gold necklaces in London where they don't have when they don't have gold in their land.
I love that. That's going to be a soundbite, by the way, for the video, because I think it sums up what things really nicely. But no, great. I mean, Joel, thank you so much. And let's definitely get information out on BeOrganic and the opportunity that you're offering people around Africa, consumers and distributors, so that we can get things moving. Thank you so much for appearing on the program, and I'm looking forward to staying in touch.
I'm very, very honored to be present. I don't know if I was able to answer or give the proper information. It's just that Raincatcher is such a new technology, and obviously I'm coming off 2 months of being on lockdown, and this week has been the craziest week ever because we were off lockdown, right? So I've been running to the bank, and so my mind is a bit all over the place. I'm sorry if I was a bit.
No, you did really well. Thank you. I think what we needed was to get people in on the action early, because Africa tends to hear about this when the rest of the world is already using this. But this is really an opportunity for us to get there in front of the product.
Absolutely.
Test it, refine it, build a market, and then just start boosting our productivity. So I think it was important to have this conversation early.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm happy I was able to raise this awareness.
Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch, and wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much, Malungo. It's such a pleasure to talk to you always, you know.
Thanks. And thank you to everybody for watching the show again. And we'll be back next Saturday with an episode of Diaspora Chronicles, because we're now switching between the two programs. So thank you very much for watching, and see you next week.
Cheers.